There he is. Hey, Jerry.
Shawn Williams, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. This is exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I said before, a couple of CEOs hanging out.
No question. Definitely a couple CEOs hanging out. And, thank you, Jerry, for your time today. I say this every week. People are like probably not going to want to listen to me anymore. But we got like 1 million people, Jerry, that need to get into this live stream.
Yeah.
So we'll give folks enough opportunity to to get in and watch it. We really don't have 1 million people.
The internet is blowing up already.
Oh yeah, we're gonna break the internet today. So we'll just chat a little bit and give everyone an opportunity to get in. Those of you that are listening and tuning in, please post your comments, ask questions, whatever it takes. And as everybody knows, when you listen to our Thursday deal, we're going to name it the day after Hump Day, actually, Jerry. And so I say all that to say, just make comments, and it's just two friends talking here, a couple CEOs chatting, and like I said, don't forget to make the comments. So Jerry, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm not going to introduce you. You're going to introduce yourself. I'm bad at introductions besides text messaging, putting two people together to connect them. I'm pretty good at that. But can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. Jerry Devlin. I run a digital platform called LENDAID. I've been in the mortgage business my whole career, really, since getting out of college. And through that, I did everything from answering the phones all the way through processing and originating and running branches and running big teams, and had the opportunity and the pleasure to have some really great people to work with, like yourself. And with that, I saw an opportunity to take a look at kind of the digital revolution as it was coming about, and how consumers act and how consumers shop, and develop this platform called LENDAID to help loan officers present themselves in a digital world. Because way back when I was originating loans, it was that recommendation that sealed the deal and gave a consumer the confidence to do business with me and or the people that I work with. But now, there are a number of layers that people go through, and digitally is one of them. So somebody says, hey, you should use Shawn Williams, they're going to check you out. And if they're going to check you out, they're going to start on their phone, or they're going to start on their computer. And you need to look good. And
Yes.
I provide with LENDAID that independent platform for consumers to take a look at you and help make an informed decision.
Got it. Thank you. And so that leads me to really my first question. So we talk about a lot of times, and you're real, you have a lot of character, integrity. I just know you to be that person. And Jerry, I have a lot of trust in you because over the years you've taken very good care of me, like in a professional aspect, and just been a good friend. So one of the things I know that is a pillar for your organization is unbiased reviews, right?
Yeah.
And so can you tell us why that piece of the business is very important for the consumer?
Yeah, no, that's an awesome question. It's something we wrestled with as we built the platform, in terms of how do we help present loan officers in an honest and appropriate way, and to maintain that independence, because there are a lot of vanity sites out there. You can just ask somebody to go leave a review on a site, and every review is a 5-star review, right?
Right.
So the way we thought it through as the product evolved, and there was an evolution to how we built the platform. But there was one kind of aha moment in there that said, as we're presenting loan officers in the digital world, it is a benefit to the lenders. So it wasn't part of the first generation, but in kind of that second generation part of the development, we started to approach lenders and say, we want to help build our platform with some information and data we can share. But to do that, you have to give us transparency. And so the long and short of that is, the lenders we work with, we review every single closed loan customer. So the profile we provide is fully transparent to that consumer, kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we think that's good, because if a consumer goes to your site and it's just Shawn's the best, Shawn's the best, that may be true, but we want to have complete honesty in there in terms of, because a consumer is going to trust that site more if they can really, be better informed about all the feedback.
Right, right. And then so I'm sure you get this type of objection, right? Like bad reviews. Like you're gonna send this all out to my clients, and I
Yeah.
really just want to get the 5-star reviews. you know, like what happens when someone gives me a bad review? Like what's the objection to that? Because I know my answer, because I don't think, like, trust me, if I get a bad one, knock on wood, I haven't so far, but if we get a bad one, um, I want to respond right away. Um, and I want to be gracious in the way that we respond and address the issue and try to figure out how we could have done better and overcome it. Right. And then,
Right.
so from a customer perspective, when I'm looking at reviews, I look at the bad ones, but I try to figure out if, where the reviewer is coming from. If they're just frustrated because they're having a bad day, so to speak, or if it's something that wasn't necessarily a direct reflection of the organization that they're reviewing. You can kind of read between that, but like, how do you overcome that objection from clients when they
Yeah.
say,
So, I think most customers understand that, one as a company, they want that kind of feedback. But two, I think they understand they're gonna have reviews. This is a tough business, mortgage. It's high transaction, a lot of emotion going on, and it's really just a hard business. It'd be a rare occasion that something have that one person along the way is going to have an experience that wasn't 5-star. Maybe 4, might be 3. Sometimes people, you just can't make people happy.
right,
When I think about it, I use and use TripAdvisor less today with COVID, but I would go there as a go-to place, as an independent site, and you'd read bad reviews on a place you're going to travel to or stay, and that wouldn't dissuade me from going there. I just take it into the whole picture of what I can expect.
right.
So, we don't think of having a bad review is bad. And we certainly also give you the opportunity to comment and work with the customer and have a follow-up review from there, if there's something you can do to make amends.
Understood. And then loan officers. That's why this is intriguing to me, because again, I talk about each week, week in, week out, is that for the reason that I started to do these live streams is because of relationships, right? And I have so many people that I know, that I'm actually connected to and have engagement with on LinkedIn that can help a lot of people, right? And so, um, like I mentioned, when we get into the whole loan officer aspect of it, I want people to hear you and what you have to say, because again, like I always say, it would be a shame if I have a resource, if I know someone that can help others, and not present that and add value to the network.
Mhm.
So getting into the whole loan officer piece and improving their digital profiles and such, and then a big piece about what you all do, Jerry, is connecting consumers with top ranked, top rated loan officers.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that and like what that really means, like in improving your digital profile and connecting with the top rated loan officers?
Yeah. So, that's a big subject, but I think we were talking the other day. Um, we were talking about the best out there, and whether it be a loan officer or a company. And typically, it's not the household name that is the best out there. In
Right.
fact, often the household names are probably not the best places to go. And so part of the message about getting a mortgage is you have to do your research. You live and breathe mortgages every day, and that's great. You're a professional. You care. You take care of customers. and you're a great person for somebody to go and do business with, right? A consumer, they don't think about they don't think about buying a house more than what, 4 times in a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a blank slate to them when they go down that path, and they need to deal. And we firmly believe they need to deal with skill and experience at a loan officer level. Because the comment I made about the household name doesn't mean there aren't good loan officers at those companies, but it gets down to the person and the kind of job that person does. I wouldn't recommend somebody just walk into a branch of a bank or a mortgage company and just say, "Hey, I want to borrow $500,000. Can somebody help me?" Because what's probably going to happen if you did that is you're getting the person who's sitting there with nothing to do.
Right. 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 I
So
want a recommendation.
it's probably sitting around for a reason, right?
Right.
You want to deal with the person that's busy, the person that's experienced and does a really good job. And that's that's the message of having a strong digital profile. Because I know if somebody said to me, "Hey, I'm I'm looking to I'm looking to buy a house in College Park, Maryland," I know to have them call you, right?
Right.
If somebody said, "I'm looking to buy a house out in Sacramento," the non-digital process is, I would go call somebody I know out in California and tell me who's good in Sacramento. And so I wouldn't say, "Hey, just call this company." I would say, "Call this person, because this person
Right.
knows what they're doing." Because, the same thing at a company that may not be highly rated, there are good loan officers. Same thing at a company that's highly rated, there's some bad loan officers. So you want to be connected to the professionals, the people that are local in your community, getting the job done and doing a really good job with it.
Got it. Got it. And what does this really mean to me though? Like if I have 10, 15, 50 great LENDAID reviews,
Yeah.
like how's that help me? And like, why does it really matter?
Yeah. So content on the internet's huge, so the SEO value, search engine optimization
Mhm.
of you having lots of content and fresh content is really important. One in a search, and we do, I feel, an exceptional job in terms of our SEO. Many of our loan officers, when you search them, you will see the company first and LENDAID second, well ahead of other options out there. And that's important from a visibility that they get to go to that site, our profile, and really see some good independent reviews.
Yeah, that's important. So if I'm searching College Park lenders or mortgage brokers,
Yeah.
and I want to be that company, Fortis Mortgage wants to be that company, or Shawn Williams wants to be that loan officer that pops up
Correct.
first, because you're likely not going to start at the bottom of the page and work your way up. You're going to start at the top and work down on the phone call.
You need to be page one. And so having good content, fresh content is important so that you maintain that, because Google will figure that out. And our profiles are pretty robust. We'll in terms of presenting a loan officer, it's not just the reviews, but as we accumulate reviews and we acquire data, we build the whole profile of the business you're doing, purchases and refinances and where. And, that's a big difference too. And what I said earlier about doing business locally, there are platforms out there that consumers go to regularly that are really just lead generators. You plug in your information and this company's going out there and throwing out the bid. They're not looking for the best. They're not looking for the people with the best reviews or the most transactions where you're looking. They're just selling leads, right? And it's a funny consumer dynamic. There are a lot of those lead generator companies that do well out there, but consumer would do a whole lot better going to Shawn Williams.
I agreed.
Right? No, I mean, we know that.
I firmly believe that they're going to get the best guidance, and we're going to practice some honesty and have some integrity and transparency, and they're going to know exactly what they're getting themselves into. Absolutely.
And if you're bidding for leads, if you're a company bidding for leads, it's a middleman, so it's an added cost to your doing business too.
Right.
So, and you're not dealing with the person, you're dealing with the company, you're dealing with somebody who may not know the market. And now more than ever with COVID, is that important? Because as you know, when it got tough through the pandemic, it was critical to have a good local lender because you needed to get right in front of title companies, realtors, inspectors, depending upon the municipality's requirements, you need to be on your toes. And again, that gets to doing your research. I was before the call, I went to, I think they're the number one lender in the country, and I went to an independent review site of theirs. And can I read a couple of reviews?
Yeah,
I won't name the company, but
of
these are
course.
fresh off of the internet on an independent review site. The first one's 1 star, mostly hype, not worth the trouble. There's a 4 star, a 5 star. The next one's a 1 star, worst mortgage application process ever. 4 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. And those are in order of the reviews that they've gotten of late, right? And these are real. And I can tell you, we have tens of thousands of reviews on our site, and the percentage of 1 stars is extremely low because we work with companies that value customer service, that have good loan officers, and customers generally recognize that. They know it's a tough process, and they give you some slack even when there's bumps along the way because it's a document-heavy, very intrusive process. But to look at a site like that and see a top lender in the country with those kind of reviews, it's almost malpractice. I'm serious, to allow that kind of an experience in this environment. But it's remote, it's not local, and they get these surges like we're dealing with right now and just fall apart.
Yeah, I find that a lot when I'm speaking to clients. I'll send them my digital profile, and they're like, "I know." I'm like, "What do you know?" They're like, "Well, I've already checked you out. Like, I've looked at your reviews.
Yeah.
I've checked you on LinkedIn and social media and everything, and they kind of know everything about you, and they will read the reviews back to you. I haven't yet had anyone like kind of ask me like what happened here and why they say this or that, but they definitely check you out. So, and it's Jerry, like, would have been, I appreciate you saying that about the one lender that gets the bad reviews and they still do a ton of business for whatever reason. But like, have you had any or I know you have, but do you have a success story that you could share with us with one of your clients right now?
Well, no, I'm glad you asked. Well, as you're leading up to that, the success and the criticism always around communication. And so I think maybe I'm not quite answering your question here, but I think what's really important in the mortgage business, and obviously in many businesses, is how well you communicate to the consumer through the process. And it's funny, you might think because it's a product that deals with money and price, that price would be the dominant feedback. But when we get complaints and when we get compliments, it's all about service. I would say 90% of the time. So that people will say, I had an excellent experience, they cared, they were knowledgeable, closed on time, but the communication is a consistent piece that people appreciate. So if there's a message for loan officers out there, is communicating is critical, whether it's good news or bad news. And I think that'll get you from a poor review to a great review if you confront that. And the same thing is when you don't, that's when you're going to get bad reviews. And a bad review, as we talked about isolating, is consumers can understand that. But if it's a consistent one, obviously it's going to hurt you, and it's going to hurt you, because a lot of people will find out about it.
Right. That's what I look are consistent ones. Yep. And so as we scale, I promise you, Jerry, when we scale to get to the level that we can become an enterprise client like you're looking, Fortis Mortgage will be a client. I know you've helped us, me in the past with profiles and such, but for it to really work and be unbiased, Yeah, I know your client would be more or less a mortgage company that has a certain amount of loan officers, right? Is there a sweet spot for you? So I guess what I'm leading into with this question, Jerry, is like, what do you need? How can we help you? Like, what do you need?
Well, we're here to help loan officers. So there's a bigger branding piece for companies, because if you're doing a good job out there as a loan officer, you want everybody to know. But as an enterprise, as you refer to it, it's a way to brand that company, because there's a consistency of people doing great work. So one of the things we offer is, when you get a review, it can be automatically shared on LinkedIn as a platform. It can be shared on Facebook and Twitter. And it's important. You do a great job with this yourself in terms of promoting, but for a consumer to not just look you up, but for you to go out there and tell people, hey, check me out. And that's where you take these great reviews and you put them out there. I find it, it was when we did our first group of reviews, we held our breath. Are they going to respond? And are they going to trash? Are consumers going to be critical? Because that could be a relationship killer. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And consumers generally judge you fairly if you work hard and you take care of them and do your best. Because again, there are going to be bumps along the way in the mortgage process. And
Right.
we were really pleasantly surprised to see how good consumers responded. And then in turn, it's an opportunity for you as a loan officer and as a lender to tell the world, say, hey, look at me. And by the way, go check out my competition, as we just talked about. And you
Right.
can read those reviews. So you're going to get referrals because you do a great job from your referral network, but they're going to check you out, like you said. And you just need that digital profile.
Right.
And you don't need one. One's a start, but having many can be helpful, because people are going to find you different ways.
Right. Right. So yeah, I would say to all my loan officer friends out there, and business leaders in the mortgage industry, just look into it. Whether it's LENDAID or someone else, I happen to trust Jerry, a great deal. So, and I like what I'm seeing, because I was asking you yesterday. I'm like, I'm seeing these reviews pop up on LinkedIn, and I see them on Facebook and places like that with friends of mine that are loan officers, and their LENDAID reviews, and I was like, that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
So and I actually I take note of that, and I actually look, because I want to see what kind of reviews they're getting, because inherently there's a touch of competition, so to speak, or to just kind of see, like, even from my perspective, like, what are they saying about these lenders, especially the 5-star reviews, and like, what are they doing very well? Because I may want to implement something like that into our business also. So,
Well,
so
what you said about success stories too is one thing I thought through this period of COVID, we would see a erosion of customer service, right? Because everybody's at capacity right now.
oh yeah,
And you can read it in the reviews of this number top lender to not be named. But we've seen some of the best months out of the lenders we work with now. And consumers will call out to say, even during these difficult times. And they're that much more appreciative, because they know they're busy. They know these are extraordinary times. And again, they'll judge you based on that, if you work hard and you do a good job for them. And so other success stories out of that, we just see the traffic, and we talking about the enterprise. We certainly have influencers on the site too, so not necessarily an enterprise. And what's neat about that is just the validation of seeing the traffic on Google Analytics, that people are hitting those sites. They are making a purchase decision based on our independent profiles. And we feel good about that, knowing that this is a very transparent profile where we have the good and the bad. And it's largely good, and it helps people make a good decision.
awesome. So Jerry, how can consumers, number one, well, how can we connect with you, whether it's a consumer or someone that's looking to engage in doing business with LENDAID? How do we connect?
Yeah. So if you're a loan officer, particularly if you're on a production team, Jerry with the J at LENDAID.com, and just reach out to me and talk about joining the platform. We probably have your data. We have profiles on tens of thousands of loan officers, but to join the review platform and be able for us to build that content and for you to be able to share those reviews, it's pretty simple plug and play to do that. And as a consumer, it's lendaid.com where they can start in doing some searches. That's the B2C part of the platform, that as we build more lenders and more content, there's a search engine capability, that's not a lead generator. It's not y'all paying for leads. It's us filtering through the data and finding top loan officers in a zip code based on your search.
Yep, I just put that in the comment section. Jerry at lendaid.com for managers and LOs, and lendaid.com to search for the reviews on the consumer side.
Great.
Hang on one second. And before we wrap up, if there's anybody in the here that has a question or a comment, please leave it. But Jerry, a couple things.
Yeah.
So know how to get in touch with you. Parting words, but also I'm starting to do this because I think it's really cool. I usually, when I do a presentation, I open up with something like this as an icebreaker. But I'm always curious, like dead or alive. Who would you like to meet and like maybe have coffee or lunch or dinner with? Who would that person be?
So this is a two-part question. You said, what was it? Closing comments?
Yeah. So give us some closing comments, and then just follow up with that question about who you'd want to chat with, dead or alive.
All right. We'll deal with the easiest one first in terms of having a digital profile today, and we've talked a lot about it for the last 25 minutes or so, is really important. And everybody's really busy today. And, it's a feast or famine business, the mortgage business. Sometimes you don't know where the next deal's coming from, and the next thing you know, you're scheduling deals out months in advance. But from a consistency standpoint, it's important to keep that content there, continue to keep it fresh, so that from the longevity standpoint of your career, you've got that content out there. Now, so anybody I'd like to, dead or alive, to have a conversation with, huh? I'd say my dad, and for a million reasons, and try not to get emotional on this one.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I started my career, around the time he passed, 22 years old, and he's just he's a person from the greatest generation, and to have a conversation today would be pretty neat. And when you think about the greatest generation, we talk a lot these days about sacrifice, right? And sacrifice for us today might be a mask, or not being able to watch our favorite sporting event on a Saturday or Sunday. When you think back, he had to make decisions, as many did, about just not being able to go to college, and going to have to fight a war and things like that. So
Right.
it'd be an interesting, it would be interesting conversation.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to stop you there. that's good. That's really good information, Jerry. So like, I like how you put that all into perspective. And it was eloquent. Thank you. So, what I'd like to say is, the same thing I say every week, it's,
Wait a minute. So dead or alive?
oh, I'm not going to do mine.
Come on.
No. Well, like, honestly, for me though, no, I tell you, I have a couple, but I always say Nelson Mandela, just because of the sacrifices, talking about sacrifices that were made. And, he spent 27 years in prison,
Yeah.
For pretty much nothing, for, fighting for equality. And I just would love to hear the stories about like what it was like going through it. Was he scared? Like, what were his thoughts? And then, how did he have the audacity to come out of prison and forgive everyone?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
imagine that.
To live a
But
life of it, you talk about integrity
e-
and sacrifice, right?
exactly. But my new one,
Yeah.
like,
Me? Is it me?
no, you're my guy. Like I, talk to you anytime. But
We can talk all the time.
honestly, if I could get Marshawn Lynch, whether you like him or not, I don't care. If I could get in
Glad they
front of
didn't hand
him,
him the ball.
huh?
I'm just glad they didn't hand him the ball on out in Arizona.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I forgot about that, Mr. Patriot. But if I could get in a room with him, I would just love to have a convo with him and just be like, dude, do you really not care what people think? And like, I'd like to get into a little bit more of his mental because he's a very, very smart guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's done very well with himself financially, but he's done it his way and unapologetically his way. He
Yeah.
doesn't profess to be perfect or anything like that in any way. It's like kind of like what you see is what you get. I have flaws. I understand I do. I'm not trying to offend or hurt anyone, but this is just me. And
Yeah.
so I admire folks that are that way.
Yeah.
And I like his whole character and like,
Sure.
I just, a lot of people don't like him, but many do. But I just when I look at some of the interviews and such, I'm like, man, I can't believe he's like just not gonna answer any questions that they have. He's gonna just speak his mind and he's not gonna try to, be pretentious and or anything like that. And
Yeah.
so, I'd just like to I don't even know what I would ask him. I just talk and just find out like where he grew up, how he grew up, and what is he thinking when he's in those interviews and such, and when people come at him a certain way.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so that's so now I got two. So Nelson Mandela, Marshawn Lynch, but like probably nowadays I would really like to to chat with that guy.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So everyone, relationships, Jerry and I had a relationship for a while. What is it since?
It's almost 10 years. Yeah. 9
Yeah,
years.
almost a decade.
Yeah.
And DNA, why you do what you do, right? And so that's a big part of how we started our companies because we wanted to
Yeah.
offer something different,
Yeah.
right? In a
Yeah.
better way. And lastly, like having a plan. And so what the plan I hear that I'm taking away from today is really for loan officers to create some sort of a digital platform, right? So that consumers can find you and really make informed decisions based on the, independent and unbiased information that's out there on you.
Yeah.
But the digital platform is really going to help us advance, our business and help more people. So
Help people find the good guys out there.
yeah.
And you're one of them, Shawn. I'm thrilled for you and your company, and it's exciting to see Fortis take off and all the work you do.
Oh, thanks. We're working our hardest. It's just taking it day by day, and it's good. And I really appreciate everybody, supporting us, Jerry. I wasn't afraid because I knew I'd always done the right thing by everyone in the industry. But it's just so amazing because we're telling a story and I'm telling a story and folks are getting behind that and they really want to see us succeed. And they know that we're going to provide the best level of service that we can, but we're always going to be honest about it. And, we're going to do it with a high level, of character.
Yeah.
And so that's really exciting to me. I'm anxious to see what it looks like in the future.
Yeah. I'm thrilled to see it, and I'm excited to watch it grow.
Yeah, yep. So if you can hang on the line with me for a quick second, I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast.
Okay.
Jerry, thank you again.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. This was a treat for me.
That was a treat for everybody.
And everyone, we'll see you next Thursday. Talk soon.
Take care.